Hey guys, it's HK here over at the Mos Eisley Cantina bringing you some breaking news. It looks like we got the Mark IV Interceptor, which is going to be one of the requirements for the Leviathan, and then we also have the Leviathan requirements right here, so we'll go over that after we go over the kit. Um, so it looks like this ship is going to be an attacker, and it's going to require Sith Empire Trooper as your pilot. Um, and so down here for its basic attack, so deals physical damage to target enemy, very simple, but it has these little swarming effects down here. So Mark IV Interceptor gains additional effects based on how many stacks of Devouring Swarm Mark IV has. If below 10 stacks and other non-capital ship, non-capital Sith ship. So if there's another Sith ship active, it gains 10 stacks of Devouring. If above 20 stacks, it gets crit damage up for 2 turns. If above 30 stacks, it does shock for 2 turns. And if above 40 stacks, and the capital ship is Sith Empire, it loses 40 stacks and instantly defeats the target. So it's an annihilate on a basic. Woo! That'll be interesting. If that doesn't seem broken, I mean, we don't even know what Leviathan does yet, but I mean, if this has any semblance of balance in there, it'll be interesting. And then, of course, for every extra stack of Devouring it has, there's a 2% offense. So at 40 stacks, you're at 80% offense increase, so almost 100% increase. Granted, it doesn't really matter if you're using your basic because you just instantly defeat the target. For special, can't outrun this. Deal special damage to target enemy and call another ally to assist. Mark IV Interceptor gains accuracy up for 2 turns and 10 speed. Max 10 and 10 stacks devouring. So does it permanently stack speed? For the rest of the encounter, all enemies are inflicted with potency down for 2 turns. Deal special damage to all enemies. All allies gain tenacity up for 2 turns. So that's the devouring sacrifice. If Mark IV Interceptor has more than 4 stacks of Devouring, lose 3 stacks of Devouring. Mark IV gains Retribution for 1 turn. All allies gain crit chance up for 2 turns. And inflict enemies with critical damage down and speed damage down, which can't be evaded or resisted for 2 turns. At the start of battle, Mark IV Interceptor's max health is set to 1 and has no protection, which can't be prevented. Mark IV is immune to damage over time, max health changes, and max protection changes. Mark IV starts with 10 stacks of Devouring. It can't be defeated or destroyed. What has... Okay, so essentially, it's like B1 Battle Droid, but for ships. So when Mark IV Interceptor takes damage, it loses 2 stacks of Devouring Storm, dispelling all debuffs on itself. If Mark IV Interceptor has no stacks of Devouring Swarm, Mark IV is instantly defeated. When Mark IV has Retribution, its attacks ignore protection. And when Mark IV expires, gain 5 stacks. Or when Retribution expires, gain 5 stacks of Devouring Storm, dispelling it. Double if dispelled. Whenever an ally gains defense up. So essentially, this just makes it so it's a B1 battle droid, and it tells you the different ways for you. If you gain accuracy up advantage, then it gets 2 stacks. If it has retribution and it expires or gets despelled, then it gets 5 stacks if it expires, or if it's despelled, it gains double that. And then its reinforcement, gain 5 stacks devouring storm for each other ally reinforcement. So, if you wait a turn or 2, or you call it in second or third, you get a bunch of stacks. So when you start out, if the capital ship... Oh, never mind. If the capital ship is Sith Empire, then you just call it in second. Cool. So it will, essentially turn 1, if you use it as a reinforcement, call it as your second reinforcement, be an annihilate, and you'll instantly kill whichever ship is there. But also, the big thing is right here. The Leviathan requirements. So, Darth Revan Relic 9. I think everyone kind of saw that coming, especially with him being the pilot for the capital ship. Malik being Relic 9. this just gives everybody an excuse that doesn't already have a Relic 9 Relic to take him to Relic 9. I know, like me personally, I only have him Relic 3 right here. So this just gives me an excuse to get him to R9. So, cool. Sith Empire Trooper. It's another solid tank for you to have for your Sith squad, so it could open up like options for like Trail Omicron or other things. Sith Trooper at R7, which is a kind of a double requirement. This will help you get your Supreme Leader Kylo Ren if you don't already have him, but he's also just a great plug and play unit between First Order and Empire. Sith. Maul the Relic 7, I guess. It'll help his ship, but outside of that, it's not really worth doing. But I guess if you're running him with the Leviathan fleet, then it's a good addition, but teach their own, I suppose. Relic 7 HK. HK doesn't really have a place in the game right now, so maybe unless they give him a ship, but I would rather use like Sith Marauder in my Revan team, or even like I sub in Darth Talon instead. So, I mean, it's an option, but I wouldn't necessarily want it R7. That's kind of a, these two are kind of the worst requirements in my opinion. Bastila Shan. So this is the Jedi Bastila Shan. This is not Jedi, this is not Fallen Bastila Shan. And this is confirmed. I think they confirm it down here. Meathead said something. Bastila Shan or Bastila Shan Fallen required. Pretty sure Fallen, but getting questions. It's not Fallen. So, yes, that is 100% Jedi Bastila. And I have seen people complaining about this, but I don't have an issue with it personally. As Bastila Shan, under Revan in the raid for Krayt Dragon, can get 2.7 million. So if you already have to take her to R7 for this, just pushing her a little bit further to R8 won't be bad. Alternatively, if you run the JML team with Bastila Shan lead with Watt, she's just going to be even more durable and harder to deal with under your with that squad. So I don't see this as a bad thing. I think this is actually pretty good. For me, with Revan being my favorite character, Jedi or Sith versions of him, being able to have higher relic characters really makes this requirement, I think, less of a big deal. And I think people are just kind of like about it because they aren't looking at multiple aspects of the game. Also, this is just cannon fodder for TB dropping platoons and stuff like that. If you're looking at it like that as well. So I don't think that the Bastila Shan is as bad of an investment as people are making it out to be. Sith Trooper Relic 5. I don't mind doing this because Sith Trooper with Maul is actually not half bad, if I recall correctly. There's a few ways that you can use her, but also I believe Sith Assassin, or not Sith Trooper, but Sith Assassin. Sith Assassin with Malgus actually has a pretty dirty team comp that I've heard about. So, her at Relic 5, I probably would just take her all the way to Relic 7. But that's my own personal opinion. And then the other one that people, at least in my guild, they were like, oh man, Shorty. Shorty is phenomenal. She is so strong. This just gives me an excuse to farm her. And I think that's how everybody should be looking at it. She makes your General Grievous team a nightmare. She brings your droids, if you don't have a good General Grievous squad, alive for game modes that you might need droids for, so like Galactic Conquest. I think that's what they're called, the stuff where you get all the mods and the Omicrons. And then it helps you... No, Conquest is Hermiter. Conquest is, of course, with, the week-long event. I'm thinking of challenges, galactic challenges. So this will help you in galactic challenges. Of course, she'll help you in conquest. It gives you a super strong Grievous team for Grand Arena and for Territory Wars. I really don't think that this is bad. Shorty also has some utility in the raid. I don't think it's necessarily the best utility, but the investment isn't necessarily bad. Of course, 7-star Fury class Interceptor, I think, is the hardest requirement because it requires 2 Conquest units. Note, Malgus isn't even listed in here, so he's a soft requirement. But Mark IV Interceptor, of course, this is a ship that we're just seeing now. TIE Dagger, the B-28 Extinction class Bomber, Scimitar, Sith Fighter, and Ebon Hawk. I saw this coming from a mile away. I said to myself, there's no way that this ship won't be required, and here it is. For those of you who didn't play Knights of the Republic, it's Revan's ship. So the fact that this is there isn't a surprise to me. So that is also giving us a soft requirement of T3M4 as well as cars. Usually need them unlocked and then have the ship at 7 stars. But yeah, I saw that one coming from a while away. I'm curious to see if Ebon Hawk will be used under the Leviathan or if it will just be kind of its own little thing. But also, I believe you need Ebon Hawk to get your Radis. So if you don't have Radis yet for your Resistance fleet, in Ebon Hawk was one of those things that you were missing. This right here should really help you out. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. Like, comment, subscribe. Remember, if you don't, I'll have to put a bounty on your head. Y'all have a good one.